Hi, I'm Mike, and this is Mike's After Action Reviews. Today, we're going to be reviewing Robo Vampire. Today with me I have...
Sierra.
Tommy.
Rachel.
A returning guest. Okay, so... This was a movie that we got for $5 on Amazon. So, if you're interested, you can buy it for like less than $5 on Amazon. The summary of the movie is this: a narcotics agent who is shot and killed is brought back from the dead as an android. He is sent on a very dangerous mission into the depths of the Golden Triangle to rescue another undercover agent whose life is in danger. This was released in 1988 in the U.S., directed by Godfrey Ho, screenplay by William Palmer, produced by John King, and music composed by Ian Wilson. You'll never hear of or from any of those people ever again. Trust me. Okay, so we break it down into 5 categories. We have acting, characters, miscellaneous, which is just anything that doesn't fall into any of that, and plot. We're going to do the spoiler section later on.
That's only 4.
Acting, characters, miscellaneous, plot. Oh, it is only. We have 4 categories. Sorry, not 5.
Okay.
I'm thinking of the rating system.
Yep.
Anyway, okay. So, we're going to start with acting. Okay, so, what do you think of the acting?
I have one word written, and it was bad. Bad.
It was beautiful. It brings a tear to my eye.
So all I wrote for acting was, oh my god, because that's kind of like what went through my brain in a loop the whole hour and 30-something minutes.
So yeah, I wrote bad. This is obviously independent. Actually, it says the budget was $2.5 million, and that's a shame because they make very good movies for much less.
What is the conversion to $2020?
No, $2.5 million from 1988. Yeah, figure it out. No, but yeah. So this is like if you were to produce your own movie. And you went down to the docks or outside of Home Depot and just randomly, as people walked in, you said like, "Hey, I'll pay you $150 to come do 5 minutes of a movie or whatever." All of the and I'm going to put up clips and stuff of some of the stuff we see. So all of the acting is just terrible, and it's bad. This had to have been a foreign film. This had to have been a foreign film because all of the acting is as if it were a foreign film. And I hope that you guys know what I mean. You know, like when you see like a bad old foreign movie or like a spaghetti western movie, the acting sometimes is just terrible.
$5.6 million today.
$5.6 million today. So The Room, which is hailed as one of the greatest bad movies, independent movie, was made for $5 million. I think 20 years ago, like right around 2000. They should have been able to do at least that quality. And the cinematography for The Room was so much better than this. The music was better. The acting was better. Everything was better. So this is actually quite a shame. But the acting is so bad in this that this is, I mean...
I feel like they went one step below starving artists / actors on the street and like literally pulled people
like
off
friends
the
and
street.
family.
Yeah. So they were like, "Hey, I'm gonna produce a movie. I'll pay you $20 and you get to be on screen." And then everybody from the neighborhood showed up, and these are like investment bankers and lawyers and like your accountant trying to pull out their acting chops.
Yeah, so we definitely we are scraping the bottom of the barrel today. We picked a random movie from Amazon, so but it was fun, and we hope that you could have fun with watching this video, and hopefully you would definitely have fun watching the movie. So, okay, so characters. Walk us through what you thought of the characters. What were your notes on characters?
Considering we didn't know who was who until... 30, 40 minutes
I still don't think we do know who was who.
Yeah, we're
truly. And we even looked up the IMDb to figure out who was who, and that was useless. It was still useless. Like they didn't have any pictures for him.
So I have here that there's a vampire / gorilla monster that's named Peter. His ghost girlfriend is named Christine, and I think they had like a suicide pact or something because one was from the east and one was from the west.
The West, yeah.
So the witch
How
doctor,
can it be so?
the unnamed witch doctor married them, and the witch doctor created all these vampires. And then there's Tom, who gets shot and turns into a robot. Sophie is like the girl cop that was shacked up with the priest and got captured. There's a guy named Brian, and then somebody named Wendy, who is Andy's sister, but I don't know who Andy is.
Oh, he was Tan-shirt guy.
Andy was Tan-shirt,
guy.
Okay,
I
and
wrote
then
down Tan-shirt.
He was the one that was hired.
Mr. Young was like the second in charge main drug guy, and then the main drug guy, I don't think that, maybe
Bill.
it's Bill.
It had to be Bill. It had to be Bill. That was like the only other name they threw out.
Wait,
that we
did this
didn't know
come
for
out?
I
sure.
just called, in my brain, I just called him Porn Stash Matthew McConaughey.
Oh my god.
So
Yeah,
I think
that's accurate.
that's everybody that I had as characters. They
Yeah, Matthew McConaughey, knife guy.
Yes.
Nice guy.
Because no one was named and no
Ghost
one was
girl.
like, introduced and
So, I can definitely tell you that you can definitely tell that this movie has inspired much of the industry. Bill being the big bad guy, where do you think they got the idea for the name for the big bad guy from Kill Bill?
There we go. Yep.
true.
No, okay. So I wrote down. Here's what I wrote. Actually, I'll show you. Look at here. This is actually what I wrote. Okay, I wrote question mark under characters because we are introduced for the first 20 minutes of the movie. I wrote who is the main character. 20 minutes in.
I don't
Okay.
I don't think there's a main character. Like
It's
It had to be Tom. Tom. Obviously, even in the synopsis.
No. It was
summary.
Knife Guy and Wendy.
Knife gun.
I mean, they're the only ones that really, other than Ghost Girl and Peter.
So
Well, I think Ghost Girl should definitely have some props, since she obviously had to get paid more.
Ghost Girl was the only
we'll go into that.
Yeah.
spoiler.
Okay, so I wrote down who's the main character at 20 minutes. Now, at that point, we had already seen the guy that you were talking about, the main big drug dealer guy, but we did not know his name at all.
Or that he was the main drug.
For him, I wrote Mr. Smiley, parentheses, mustache, is the main bad guy. I wrote that almost at the end of the movie with like 10 minutes left because we finally figured that out. But then I wrote Tom, parentheses, robot, at about 30 minutes. They introduce us to Tom. Which is just a random scene.
All of it.
Yeah, it's just a random scene of these drug dealers getting attacked by vampires, and then, the DEA, the anti-drug agency,
the anti-drug agent.
our anti-drug group.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anti-drug
They don't even get a
group.
name.
Yeah.
Yep, is the group, and they're trying to stop all these drug dealers, and the drug dealers attack them, and they summon a vampire, and he kills them, and one of the people that he kills is Tom. Now. Tom is resurrected by the anti-drug group as a robot.
Because there's literally a guy that's like, hey, now that Tom's dead, do you mind if I take his corpse and like do some shit with it?
Okay, then we have
You take the contract.
then we have Bill. Then we have Peter. Peter is the name of the vampire.
Peter's vampire.
And
The vampire gorilla.
actually, this was just before Tom was created. I kind of wrote these notes kind of backwards because I was still trying to figure everything out. Peter is a vampire created by a guy whose name we don't know, so I just call him Vampire Creator. And he
I
has
call him Jazz Hands.
yeah. And then I wrote Ghost Girl because I think her name was like Caitlin.
Christine.
Christine. Okay,
Christine.
so
The
Christine
most
is the
Asian
Ghost
of
Girl,
names.
and those are all introduced. And basically the resolution is because she's mad that Peter's dead body was made into a vampire, and so the resolution is let's have him get married. By the way, this is not spoilers because this is all just base plot to get you going in the movie, and you'll need to watch this video to understand because we had to pick this apart amongst ourselves. Okay, so Christine is mad that Peter's turned into a vampire, and so the resolution is let's just have them get married so that way we can control them both. This is the drug dealer group. And randomly 2 American people are there too, so that was odd. But anyway, so then there's a female drug agent. Randomly, this whole movie is just random scenes. They don't feed into each other. It's not cohesive at all. Randomly, they go into a church, and there's a female drug agent there that they capture. Then you have Mr. Young, who is one of the drug dealer guys, and we weren't sure for the first 40, like not even almost like
probably first hour.
First hour. We were not sure who was even hour and a half. I mean, okay, sorry. For a third time, this is our third recording because my microphone stopped working and then the video stopped working. But anyway, so Mr. Young captures the female drug agent from the church, Sophie, and he rapes her. So he's the rapist guy. And I didn't even know his name until later, so I just wrote rapist. Okay, so then okay, now we're going to go through this whole thing again.
Wait, first my diagram. So for this, I have two groups of circles. I have anti-drug group.
Here, you talk and I'll...
Goes to Robo-Tom and also Knife Guy.
Okay.
And Knife Guy is connected to Andy and Wendy, and he also hooks up with Wendy. And then Vamp Peter kills Robo-Tom before he's Robo-Tom. Yeah. And then Robo-Tom fights Vamp Peter plus Ghost Christine, who was created by Witch Doctor on the request of... Bill. I don't know where Mr. Young fits in. That's what I'm saying.
Bill, we didn't figure out until towards the end of the freaking movie that was.
The guy in the racer shirt? I don't know.
I bet you that race shirt guy. No, I bet you that Quentin Tarantino watched this movie and hated it so much he says, "I'm gonna kill Bill."
Yes.
Okay. All right. Anyway. So along with those characters, there's more characters than any of us have talked about yet, but we just don't know who they are, and they only come in from.
They're.
So we have Knife Guy. Now Knife Guy, we call him Knife Guy because he pulled out a knife and was interrogating somebody. So we just call him Knife Guy. But he's an agent of the anti-drug group. He was hired by the anti-drug group for $30,000 to fight these drug dealers, okay, and to do some stuff. And we'll get into that when we do the non-spoiler section. Plot. Okay, then we have Andy, who is a guy that Knife Guy brings in, and they're colleagues. He's like, "Oh, come and help me do this." Right? Actually, you don't ever see him do that. He just shows up and starts helping him. So I assume that somewhere.
What took you so long?
The classic. What took you so long?
Okay, then there's Wendy. Now there's Wendy, who's Andy's sister, and she's there for some reason. I don't think she even has a gun.
I don't even know.
She just runs around with him.
Yep.
Oh, and then some stuff happens with it. We'll get into that when we get into the plot. Okay. So Andy wears a tan shirt. So I'm going to show clips and stuff. You're going to see Andy's tan shirt. Knife Guy is the guy with the knife, and I'll put a clip up of it. Wendy is always wearing like a flower dress. So you're gonna see all this. Okay.
And then there's Gray Cap Guy, who's the guy that they were interrogating.
Knife Guy pulls out a knife.
There was like a romantic moment almost between
between Knife Guy and Gray
Cap. They're like looking intensely in his eyes.
That's why he really joined the good side.
So Gray Cap Guy. Gray Cap Guy is a
like,
and again,
I felt the romantic tension from here. Definitely. I was like, ugh.
So Gray Cap Guy. This is not really a spoiler because it happens very quickly, and you just
there's no spoil. There's no plot. There's no spoil in this movie. There's no plot.
When we start to go into the plot and we do the spoiler section of the plot, watch that because there's no watch that instead of watching this, and I'll put some stuff up. Anyway, so Gray Cap Guy, he's just a guy wearing a gray cap. He's one of the drug dealer minions, and Andy and Knife Guy. Knife Guy pulls out a knife, and Andy and Knife Guy say, "Look, your boss is going to think that you cooperated anyway." So then Gray Cap Guy is like, "Well, fine then. I'll be on your team." Okay. And then you have the main guy, and this is the last thing I wrote down because I finally understood who the main bad guy is, which is Mustache Guy, or Mr. Smiley. I call him Mr. Smiley because randomly throughout the movie there's multiple times when he's like underneath something, he pops up and he's like...
Yeah, he's always like around the corner.
So he's the main bad guy. So you don't find that out until about an hour and a half in, but he's the main bad guy.
An hour and a half into an hour and 39 minutes.
All right, excellent. I gotta keep moving my mouse too. Don't let me forget to move the mouse. Okay. So now we're in the miscellaneous section, and just so everybody understands, this is just everything other than characters, acting, and plot. So this is where most of the movie review is gonna happen. So anyway,
so my favorite.
Miscellaneous. Go ahead if you want.
My favorite spot is when the guy that's supposed to be, I guess, caretaking the vampires
gets
burned in the dick because the vampire stole the other guy's cigar. And I was like...
No, it wasn't even a cigar. It was a cigarette.
It was a cigarette.
Yeah, it wasn't even a cigar, which would at least give you more of a burn pattern than...
He was like, and they're fighting. I guess the vampires. Okay, so I feel like this falls into miscellaneous because it like blew my damn mind. The vampires hop.
Oh my god, it's priceless.
Bunny hop. Like I'm not going to demonstrate it because you don't want to see it.
Well, I'm going to put a clip.
It's like not even just the bunny hop. They even got their hands out and just bounce around.
They shoot smoke and it
shoot smoke out of
it looks like they put
Roman candles out of their hands.
Arms and they're like.
I think that the name of the movie Robo Vampire was because originally they thought like Robo Vampires, because the vampires shoot sparks and everything.
And then they were like, "No, we don't have that much tinfoil in the budget. Like, we need to back this shit off." Hello.
Well, the big thing is, okay, I'll say it later, but okay.
And there's some people on a beach, and then RoboCop digs under
under the fire. There's a random section where you see him lay down, and then he just appears.
Like I will
out of the
say,
sand.
this is the worst production of any movie I've ever seen, and I have never laughed so much in my life. Like, definitely pay the money to watch this. And if you're, drinking a little adult beverage with it too, it makes it all much better. Because they were definitely drinking adult beverages when they made this.
No, there was more than beverages involved. There was
these were real drug dealers.
Let's bring up how we brought up the fact that this was all started with a drug deal gone bad, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so also under miscellaneous, I think they actually sacrificed a real cow. There's this one weird,
there is a scene.
Weird throwaway scene where they're like packing heroin, I guess, which was rice powder.
Yeah,
in another scene, but they were packing heroin into a cow, and the cow moved. And with the budget of this film, there's no way that this was fake blood because they used ketchup and grape juice as fake blood, and this was like I think they killed a real cow. It really actually upset me, and I'm probably gonna have bad dreams.
I was thinking about it too. So if this was made in China, I don't know if they would have had a problem with that, but it might have been that they had killed the cow and the cow was already dead, and they somehow made it move. But with the low budget, probably not. They probably really did just kill a cow. Like you watch it die, dude. That's. I'm sorry, it's not funny. It's animal abuse. Animal abuse is not a joke, okay? But in this case, it was. It takes you by surprise. I'm like in my mouth. I'm like, no.
Yeah, it was a bit traumatizing.
Yeah. All right. So what did you have? So you went. You already went.
So
okay.
It's funny. Miscellaneous. This whole movie is miscellaneous.
Yeah.
From dead cow. Their garlic infused heroin that burns the family.
And it's
so
never
weird.
explained.
Nothing's ever
the garlic. Nothing is explained, but the garlic burns the vampires in a scene.
But
it was the heroin.
Sorry, the heroin burns the vampire. It never says anything about garlic. She's just saying that, but it burns the heroin. burns them.
They wore garlic necklaces.
Well, no, but it wasn't.
But whenever they threw that cocaine or the heroin at the vampire, they just.
It burned the vampires. So anyway, sorry, go on.
My favorite though, the beginning scene, the very, very beginning is totally random. We have no idea.
No spoiler, but this is kind of part, there's an opening scene. So we can break it down. There's an opening scene where the anti-drug group, is escorting a guy, just. Somewhere.
Well, is that who's escorting him, though? Do we really even know who?
Because it looked like bad guys were taking this guy off in the woods to kill him.
And that's what I said, too, because then you're like, wait, are the bad guys the good guys? But so they're escorting this guy, and they're wearing, like, paramilitary gear, so you think that they're bad guys, but I think that it is the actual anti-drug group. And then randomly... a vampire jumps out. Like, first they find snakes.
Yeah, the freaking snakes.
And and immediately, in the recording, you can see me, because I was saying, like, oh, there's somebody in there throwing snakes at us. Because you can tell it was just somebody in a garbage can, and it looked like some of the snakes looked real. So it might have been a guy in a garbage can with snakes, and he throws them out of the garbage can. And then a vampire jumps out and attacks them. And
they continue to fight. Even with
and when they made the evil Peter vampire, there was like they showed all the gross stuff in there, and there's a bunch of snakes and like a hamster, like an honest to God hamster in this
to feed
coffin.
The snakes.
That's the purpose of the hamster. Yes.
Obviously, how did we miss that?
Back to animal cruelty.
No, animal on animals. That's fine. That's
Tommy, your
But
thoughts?
yeah, so but anyway, the opening scene, the vampire kills him and then they just run off, and then it just leads right into the next scene of them showing some people loading heroin into coffins, and it had nothing to do with the rest of the movie. So anyway,
Hell, there was no dialogue for the first 15, 20 minutes.
yeah, it's just grunting.
Yeah, grunting random porno noises.
porno noises.
They 100% pulled this soundtrack from old pornos and 80s video games. Because that's all it was.
Especially with the scene where they're getting water dropped down there. Just freaking going into it like, oh my god. This is definitely from
And none of the vampires look the same. I mean, they're either blacked out eyes and white skin, or one looks like a werewolf.
They had the Roman candle.
One looks like a zombie.
And the chin strap, you can see a chin strap of one of them. He's obviously wearing a mask.
And you
burned off skin.
And like they control the vampires, I guess, by putting like receipts on their face.
Oh yeah,
it's his Zord. And his Zord is Gord.
His Gord.
Yeah.
What?
His Gord.
What is his sword?
No, his Gord. With the Gord with the
and the magic hand.
Yes, the magic.
Yeah, he does, like, if you've seen Conan.
It's like 2 fingers.
The movie. No, Conan the Barbarian. There's a couple of, in the old Conan series, there's a couple of scenes where you'll see a wizard and he comes out and he's like, and he does stuff and you're like, that's what the guy who made the vampires here is doing.
Michael, we are very different people.
He doesn't.
So no, really, the whole movie is miscellaneous. The whole thing.
Anything else though?
The tongue out thing.
Oh yeah.
What?
Our dead guy in the very beginning. Remember, he fell over dead, and it was.
Tongue out everything.
It's like asking your toddler, "I need you to play dead," and they're all like,
Yeah, very minimal acting skills.
Yeah,
here.
no.
Okay. I think they paid them all in heroin.
That would explain a lot. Okay, so
That's
all right,
where
I
the
wrote
Julian
down.
went.
This is like, so in my little miscellaneous section, I only had one page, so I kept it because I was trying to keep it to the most. Okay, so bad ADR. This is like Kung Pao into the fist level ADR. Like it's like
We're changing our cover from the drug smuggling business. To what? It's like variation, on the body smuggling business. Bodies? I guess you're still the boss.
hello.
Kung Pao's got this better.
Yeah. Bad recording. So the video here is, I don't know, it might be old. Might just be that it's old because it's from the 80s, but at the same time, I think that I'm going to do some research and find out.
Well, there was that guy with the cigarette in his mouth and he's
Oh, yeah.
talking, but he's not.
Hey, how you doing?
But his speech is perfectly clear. You have to remove his.
There were several instances where
He
they
was,
dubbed
he was
over,
actually the most accurate one.
They dubbed over speech on people that weren't actually supposed to be talking. It's like, you just have people going about their business, and then you hear almost like from the voiceover gods, like their dialogue, and I'm like,
That doesn't even match. That's not.
His lips aren't even moving.
So, so I put...
also under miscellaneous is the scene where King Kong Vampire Peter keeps interrupting all these couples that are like trying to break up or make out. It's the same people playing couples over and over, but he just keeps like breaking up all
But
these
before that, we were in the jungles of.
Yeah, and now they're in the middle of town advertising
Thailand.
White Castle.
There's a White Castle. There is a White Castle. I'm going to put a clip up. There is a White Castle in this
Paid
movie.
for this movie.
That's where they got the money for this movie. So I put, so bad recording. So I'm going to do some research and see like movies of similar quality, but even the recording was, I have a cheap camera. I paid like $200 for this camera I'm using right now. The recording you're seeing right now in this video was better than this movie. Okay, and this was a $2 million movie. So, practical effects. I wrote down practical effects. They have all these weird practical effects. Was it low budget though? That was a lot of money. So, practical effects though, some of them are just like
I
see a
Roman
vampire.
candles are kind of expensive.
The sparks flying.
And the tinfoil?
That's-
Jeez.
My
duct
favorite.
tape.
Duct tape. All the duct tape.
No, there's a scene where you see Tom, and notice that we haven't been talking a lot about Tom because he's not in the movie very much.
He's my character.
But there's a scene where you see him explode, and you can tell that they just took like what looks like a man-sized tinfoil, like if they just squished
Sheets
a bunch
of
of
tinfoil.
like sheets of tinfoil
I
and made
think
it
they
into a man
actually-
and then blew it up.
I think they actually stuffed it with like turkey or ground beef or something and used that to feed
No,
the
that-
staff
Yeah.
afterwards. They're like, we're gonna throw our dinner into the
so-
This is our
production.
Actually, yeah.
Barbecue, guys.
What they had from the cow, they actually put it in
Ugh.
there. Yeah. That's where the cow went.
I wrote height. I wrote height.
Enough said.
Like HIY exclamation point, because in every single thing, like you can't have a guy come up and just punch somebody. He's got to be like, height,
But the bright side is they only spent
Sophie and her slap hands.
they only spent like $30 for that one hike.
They just kept repeating. They were
It's the
playing it on
same.
repeat.
Yes, it's the same thing.
By the same person, actually.
So I wrote disgusting costume design. They had like the costume designs of some of the characters needlessly were just grotesque. Like Peter at one point,
Oh my God.
which is the main vampire. Okay, keep
Werewolf.
with us
Gorilla.
here.
Gorilla.
Yeah, he's like a
Vampire
vampire, but he has like a gorilla
Yeah.
face at one point. At one point, he has just a disgusting, weird, like bulbous pustules on his
Oh,
face.
whenever he was becoming
Like the
the
thing that
vampire.
popped in the forehead.
I wrote the robot is terrible. So you see, this is not. This is 88. I think. Yeah, this came out
Yeah.
after RoboCop.
It's close.
It was close. I think it came around at
was
least
close.
around the same time as RoboCop. But she's gonna find out right now. But
Yeah,
this is not RoboCop.
RoboCop's got the feet.
You can see duct tape on his head. Okay.
This is like the crack den of
and he has boobs. He has breasts.
On his front and back.
When did this come out? 88?
Yeah.
RoboCop came out in 87.
Yeah. So this was right after RoboCop. This was that's what it was. They ripped this off for RoboCop. So I wrote the grunting and breathing noises. There's scenes where it'll be just like everybody be quiet. Everybody sitting here, and we'll just be sitting here and you'll.
Yeah.
And it's just like normal things going on. And you
Always gonna have that.
there's a couple of scenes. There's a couple of scenes where you'll see people and they'll and he'll look up and see something and he'll be like, it'll surprise him and he'll go. Let me see. The sound. One of my favorite parts. There's a scene where the guy is the evil guy. He's about to rape Sophie, and he's like, "Hey, you, get out of here!"
You, get out of here.
And the guy's like,
About to get dirty.
Yeah. The sound effects from Tom's walking every time Tom takes a step here
Especially in the sand.
Even in
in
the
the
sand.
sand.
okay, so for my sidebar, if you haven't seen a video on how movie special effects are made, it is super impressive. There's like a guy in his room and he gets a list. You can find it somewhere on YouTube. I don't have the link, but he gets a list of like, I need you to make these sound effects, and it's like walking on the beach or an explosion. And this guy has all this crap in his room and he's like, okay, so for this sound effect, I need these cymbals and this piece of pipe, and he'll just go boom, and like make thunderstorms, and it's a whole industry behind the scenes, and it's pretty neat.
They didn't have any of that.
No, they had Bill in the basement
Smiley guy.
and a cheap porno.
Yeah, no. So no, but another. So you hear that all the time, even in the sand, which is terrible. It's like as if he was a metal guy walking on concrete. Okay, even in the sand. His voice is like they used to have a toy that you could talk into, and he would be like and make your voice sound really bad. That's what they used for his voice. Like, stop now, you have 15 seconds. But it's really good. Andy counts down a part. He's like 15. That's a long time to have somebody shoot at you. And they were trying to attack him while he's cutting. Why didn't he just open fire? But anyway, so there's that. Let me see. Sound effect. Yeah. So this is what we said before, kind of. But the vampires hop. Okay, and then there's even a scene, and I'll put the clip up. But there's a scene where you see Peter. He's the main vampire, and he goes, and he's like shooting sparks. And as I'm watching, because I'm going to put clips in of us watching it as well. But as we're watching, you see him go with some sparks, and then he goes, and I'm like, reload. And then he gives like a reload.
Honestly, my favorite scene in the whole movie is the romantic scene between the vampire and the ghost, because she's like, my love, and he like puts his arms out and like hops towards her across, and then misses her.
And it's like buddy hopping. Yeah, he's like.
And then their whole like love scene is they like clasp hands and they're like this with their hands clasped, and I'm like,
oh, you know what that reminds me of? Like, have you seen the Conehead movie?
Oh yes. Like you said, this inspired
so many Hollywood flicks.
Yeah, the production value here is just okay. So Peter has sparky hands. He shoots sparks.
It's Roman candles.
Yeah,
we all know.
It's definitely
So look for the remake of this movie by us right here in the next year or so.
It'll be better.
We're all four of us gonna play all 500 people. And with a budget of $30, we're gonna like kill it.
Yeah, that's what the YouTube money is gonna. Okay, so the guy. There's a really good scene where the guy and the effects are terrible. So the guy who created Peter the vampire, we're not sure. In the beginning, when we first see it, we're not sure if it's the ghost girl or this guy, the guy. They never say his name, but he can fly.
Yeah,
he can fly, and you see him he flies in and sits down somewhere, and then it jumps to Peter and the girl. So it's just a scene just to show him fly. So that was funny, and I'll put a clip up. And then we already talked about all the Hanson. Tom, the robot, can fly.
That's right.
He does it for like 5 minutes instead of just walking on the
very
beach.
The last scene of the movie, because he can't fly in the other ones.
Right.
That must have been the second upgrade.
Peter.
Yeah, he did die.
So there is later on, and we'll get into it, but there's a chase scene, and Peter rolls. So Peter jumped, and it's real slow. So then he goes like this and gets down on the ground and just
like a kid rolls down a hill.
Like a kid rolls down a hill.
He's going too slow, so
that high-speed chase was the equivalent of watching two grandmas on walkers chase each other.
All of it is for nothing.
Which we've seen at work. So
all of it is for nothing anyway, though, because Peter can teleport. Mm-hmm. You see the vampires teleport multiple times in the movie.
I don't understand. Can they teleport willingly, or do they just do it on the witch doctor?
He did. No, he did.
Yeah,
he did. He teleported out when Tom was chasing him in the long, in that
the guy with the
epic chase scene. And then we already talked about there's a scene where you see Tom and he's walking, and he walks into an alleyway, and then all of a sudden, just right, like his face passes right by a sign for White Castle. So we talked about that earlier, but I wrote that down. Okay, basically the plot, without trying to get into any spoilers, is now just correct me if I'm wrong in any of this. Okay, basically the plot is drug dealers.
Yep.
All of this is done in random scenes. That's the problem. If they would have even just had cohesive scenes that moved from one thing to another, but basically it's drug dealers, the anti-drug group, and then the drug dealers just decide, hey, let's just get some vampires and use them to fight. They do that. They kill an agent, one of the drug agents. Tom. The drug agent is then turned into a robot, like RoboCop, but not. The same. His suit is in the front. He has breasts, but then on his back, it's the
also
same.
breasts.
So they it's like they bought a piece. It's like they bought a suit, but it was just the front, like a cheap.
And they flipped it around.
But they bought two.
Yeah,
So it's like a cheap Halloween suit that they would have bought, and they made it in the front. And then one of the guys was like, "Well, what about the back?" And so the guy bought another one and just flipped it around and put it on his back. So there's that. Okay, so then Tom, in the description, it says that he's supposed to fight to save Sophia. He doesn't do anything with that. Okay, just to let you know. He just randomly walks around and fights drug dealers randomly, like just random scenes. Then there's this other guy, knife guy, and he teams up with Andy and they go save Sophie from Mr. Young.
Yeah.
After that whole thing resolves, we don't see them again.
Yep.
We don't see Sophie. We don't see.
No, we see them running away from the place they blow up, and then they're done.
And then it's done.
Not to, like, way,
so that's like right towards the end of the movie, and then you see Tom. So there's Bill, who's the big bad guy, Big Bad Bill, Big Bad Bill. And then he's standing there. He's like, "Well, I need to rebuild my drug empire." And then the Tom just walks in, and this is the final sequence of the movie. And it just breaks down into Tom fighting Peter, the main vampire, Ghost Girl fighting
the witch doctor,
the witch guy who made the vampires, and I don't even think that he didn't even. I mean, not
I don't
really.
know what happened.
It just devolves. Like the whole thing just falls apart right there. This is actually the part where the whole movie you're kind of. Like
you've just figured it out.
Yeah, it's very
confusing.
The
three
whole
stories that it feels like it was separated into and it finally...
They kind of converge, but they just fall apart. So you're confused the whole time. You're kind of... If you kind of pause it and you talk with your friends and try to figure it out, you can kind of piece together what's happening. But then when it gets here, it all falls apart. There is no proper resolution. It's just random fighting.
Well, and then there's not even any credits. Like you're like...
And there's no credit. And then
this is gotta be
and then the movie...
The end.
No, it just says the end. There's no final movie resolution. Nothing. There's not a final scene where they're like, "Hey, you got him, good job," or anything. It's just the end. So,
fight scene and then
so does
stops.
good really win?
So,
what's the point?
Exactly. So that's basically a synopsis of the whole movie. It's all very random. There's not a cohesive plot tying it together. Just random scenes.
My question is about Bill. Like Bill, the
big
bad main guy.
Well, don't spoil it.
But like
no spoilers.
He's just so random. He never really
he's not commanding.
He's always just like around a corner, just smiling. That's all he's ever doing.
And then in the end, you find out that the whole thing was his. It's like a secret. It's like a mystery. Like who's really the bad guy?
I should have been the creepy guy in the back.
It's like okay. Movie reference to a movie that I actually have seen. The Charlie's Angels movie with Cameron Diaz and the creepy guy, the hair sniffing guy in that movie. Bill is like the hair sniffing guy in Charlie's Angels.
He doesn't talk to that
you're
much
like,
either.
where the does he even? Or sorry, where does he even come into this? Sorry, where does he come into this movie? And you don't know, and you never do figure out. And I don't know what hair guy actually had to do with Charlie's Angels. I don't know what Bill has to do with this movie either. So,
what age is this for? Who is this going for? Target audience.
Adults.
Not appropriate for kids for sure.
Yes.
There is nudity.
Yeah, she's the one that got $2 million.
Top up nudity only.
Yeah. So adults, definitely adults.
Young adults.
Adults who want to torture themselves by watching a movie. So okay.
No, I would say older generation because they don't know the quality.
Oh yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah. But if you showed this to my parents, they'd be.
And if you can't afford tickets, or if you can't afford tickets to RoboCop in theaters, I can imagine that you went and saw this instead. Okay, so all right. So final review. So we do. A 5-tiered review system here. We have bad, below average, average, above average, and excellent. So what do you rate? How do you rate this?
Oh man, I mean, boobs at the end make it go from bad to below average. I'd have to go with bad.
Okay, bad.
Below average.
Below average? Yeah. Okay.
Just because it was just so much fun.
It was so much fun? Okay.
So much fun.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and flip to the opposite scale. I think it's, excellent because... No. It has got to be hands down the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. And probably the best time I've ever had watching a movie.
Definitely.
So I'm going to have to say excellent because it was just so stupid you can't help yourself.
So yeah, I'm gonna yeah, I'm going to kind of interpret all of those scores and tell you that this movie is one of those movies that is so bad, that this is what you get. Entertainment from how bad it was. It's almost like The Room. Like, we were going to watch The Room, okay? I went on Amazon, tried to find The Room, and it said that I could not, I had to buy the DVD. I couldn't watch it online. And right below it, it said, Robo Vampire. And we were like, yep, this is it, Robo Vampire. So this is one of those movies that's so bad that it's good, and it's, so I'm going to say bad. But if you're looking for a movie that's so bad it's good, this is an excellent movie.
I would go for there, like, it's bad if you watch it by yourself.
Yeah.
If you're with friends, it's gonna be excellent.
If you are home during a pandemic and have $2 to your name and maybe some, a little weed on the side.
I was just gonna recommend some sort of.
I don't smoke, but I can see how it would be super entertaining.
Yeah.
So
this is for
I definitely recommend it.
So there you go. There's our review. So we review this as bad, but so bad that it's good. So, and of movies that are so bad that it's good, this is excellent.
This is really
okay. So one second. So now we're gonna do. So we're gonna get into spoilers here. We're gonna go through the plot, the whole plot, all the. We're gonna do all the spoilers. That's gonna be in a separate video. So we're gonna do that right now. I'm gonna put the link for that in the description.
Can you do the thing? Click the link below.
Yeah, click the link below. I'm gonna put it in the description. You'll see it. Actually, my link, it'll go all around us. So it'll be in the video. Look for it. Look for it in one of these. Okay. All right. Awesome.
He's gonna put it right over your face.
So okay. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. God bless you all, and have a good day.